I'm very happy to say, are doing very well in 2021. According to the central bank, we're up in Kenya alone 16.5% in the first half of the year. So unlike a lot of the macro trends in the macro environment, remittances are performing really well and are really very counter-cyclical to what's going on what we're seeing more globally. And that's not too surprising. That's what we've seen through past trends as well. So I'm hoping and certainly think that, based on prior performance, that remittances will continue to do well despite a lot of what's going on in the world today.
Now, talk to us about ZEBS's group platform, WorldRemits, performance so far this year. What sort of numbers are you seeing in terms of volumes and, of course, transaction values?
Great question. ZEBS is the holding company for two brands globally, both Sandwave and WorldRemit, both of which have had really strong years so far, really strong performance so far this year, particularly in Africa. Both brands are sending billions of dollars into the continent and have, like the market, done very well this year and have actually outperformed the market. And we're expecting, that growth to continue, particularly given the macro environment, but also just given our growth and expansion as we continue to double down on some of our top markets like Kenya, but also grow and expand into further markets within Africa and globally.
And of course, you just mentioned Sandwave, which you did acquire in 2021. Talk to us about the reach of that platform. You said you're looking at growing and expanding on the continent. Give us a little bit more on that.
ZEBS and WorldRemit acquired the platform Sandwave, which is a phenomenal product that enables folks to transfer money onto the continent, and they do it at zero fees. And so it's a great cost-effective way to transfer money back home or to friends and relatives and other folks on the continent. And they've continued to do incredibly well, very, very high growth rates, growing and are very strong in many of the countries in Africa, including Kenya, and really pride themselves on sending money, particularly to mobile wallets. Across the continent, and we're continuing to double down on that experience, that customer experience, and we'll continue to grow and expand into further countries around the continent, but also in the countries where we're doing really well. There's still a big need. There's still tons of opportunity, tons of dollars flowing into these countries, and an opportunity to do that more fast and more affordably, and that's what we're here to do.
And just quickly, I want to find out what you think will be the driver of that growth, because the World Bank points to the fact that most Africans living in the diaspora are sending more money home as a result of the cost of living crisis. What do you think will drive the growth in remittances going forward?
There's a couple of things. One is, just the core need and the core desire to send money, whether that's back home or to friends and family. But also, as you mentioned, as the macroeconomic trends, whether that be inflation, whether that be recession or just general need, we found that when things like that happen, and this is a study we did just a few months ago, that senders will actually, forego some of their own quality of life in the country that they're living, whether that be, eat out once less more week or take one less taxi ride, in order to send money back home and send money back to friends and relatives to make sure that they continue to send money. And what we find is, when times get tough, they will send more, particularly when there are natural disasters or, things at home get harder. They will continue to send the same amount, if not more, going forward. And so we expect that to continue as the macro trends continue. But there's that is an important aspect of it going forward. And as inflation kicks in, people will also, hopefully will continue to send the same, if not more money home as those trends continue.